Good evening to us all. Good evening to us all.
Good evening.
Okay, that's more like it. I am really honored to be here. A lot has happened these few days. We're not the same. We're not the same people that walked in through those doors. So dear you, I must mention, probably off official records, but preferably from a delicate lens of my heart's witness, that during the course of the workshop and the GLF, I have heard stories about young people who took hours of stressful transit experiences to be present here in Nairobi, who took days, a particular one, weeks, or should I say a week, sorry, whose flights got delayed and denied, having to foot their own bills, but still making it here. I watch many young persons relate with culturally and socially different people, dig into totally strange dishes without puking. If you're not clapping already, I might just take it all over again. These to me are just the heroes we've been waiting for. So I'll simply title this speech, The Arrival of the Restoration Heroes. Okay, my name is Joy Abraham Ogoma from Benue State, Nigeria. I'm a writer, I'm a poet, who is greatly propelled by nature. I am a mother to a handful of younger people, figuratively, and greatly obsessed about an educationally reformed mind of the African child. Environmental conservation has been my weapon and equilibrium for accomplishing this. I am the communication officer at Center for Earthworks, a youth-led organization concerned about securing the earth. This week, about 100 young people and minds came together physically, with many actively online, for a 2-day leadership workshop, sharing motivations and passions as they settled in for one single reason: the restoration of African landscapes. This life-rewarding opportunity, strategically organized by the GLF and the Youth in Landscapes initiatives, engaged participants through explicit motivating speeches by professionals and new venturing people in both closely and broadly linked fields to land restoration. This was strategic and intended to leave none of the participants with a single excuse, to why they might not be restoration ready. It was no surprise that when defining land and restoration, our groups arrived at unique phrases like people, home, stakeholders, resilience, institutions, culture, livelihoods. These diverse perspectives constructed our formidable model for restoration readiness, what we call the spiderweb approach. This spider begins its web knowing one's landscape, integrating both ecological and indigenous knowledge. It progresses towards the inclusion of all stakeholders, further crafting its web in alignment with standing policies and in collaboration with relevant institutions, considering economic functionality before finally, or shall I say finalizing, management approaches. The spider seamlessly weaves across all pillars, never staying within one, building the strongest web, what we call restoration readiness. Our model speaks to smart work beyond hard work, taking that every one of us have now defined our collective next steps. Each action perhaps is a unique way, but a common goal, acting as a good nuisance in the face of every lackadaisical forest and land stakeholder. Because we refuse to act in isolation, we will dig into the uniqueness of us, this strength we have, knowing that our first opportunity is the privilege to serve. Maybe you should tell your neighbor, your first opportunity is your privilege to serve. So dear you young person listening, quoting one of the speakers in our workshop, when a needle falls into the well, many will look down at it, but only if you will go down and search for it. To add to that, I say, many will actually hang around the brim of the well, and they're going to act like they're actually going to look for the needle. They'll shout out orders like, "Get me a long, fat, brown, shiny rope so I can go down to get that needle." This won't come by self-fulfillment, poking accusations at financial and governing stakeholders. We have refused to dance to that beat again. We are making do with every efficiency available, taking innovative postures to making our passions edible. We must know first, or also, that our passions are likened to a pregnancy in our bellies. Now, does a pregnant woman, does she say that because she has not been given enough cash funds, enough gifts, enough stipends, told well done by her spouse, friends, society, and family, that she would not make use of her inbuilt strength to put her baby to bed? No. This week, the convergence of our passions has bettered an action plan of our contributions over the next 2 years. Strategic, specific, measurable, and actionable items in our 4 priority areas, which are social entrepreneurship, education, and capacity building, policy advocacy, and lastly, leveraging partnerships. This plan, this week, this group marks the arising of a movement, taking up diversified case studies of our African lands and highlighting structural ways to reclaim them. We will do whatever it takes. Do these indigenous people want us to whisper? Whisper. Will they prefer that we dance? Dance we will. Do they prefer that we learn to eat a little from their sacred pots of gathered heritage? Yes, we, every zealous one of us who have dared to be present at this workshop and forum, will make them know that they matter so much in this movement, and the best they will do is help us help them. Our innovative skills will know no bounds, from the media, to schools, to villages, to conglomerates in the cities, to every air, to every location, everywhere that air is breathed. Finally, dearest you, just as the recently concluded International Youth Day talked about safe spaces for youth, our question to you all, young mind, is, will safe spaces be achieved on a plateau of ease by the youth? We are restoration ready, and I trust that we will be those ones who take the courage to go down to our soil, to soil our hands for good, to find this quick fading needle. This our clothing, this our dignity, this our land. Thank you very much.